of those multiple interview situations?
I believe it's going to be, yeah. So let's just...
So it's long and drawn out process, much like the NFL season, even though it seems like it's going really fast, huh?
No, it's back. Give it to the quarterback. No, we got the running back. Straight off the couch. Here are the stories we're going to be chasing today.
We'll be chasing week seven. Oh, before I get into this, though, let me bring in my broadcast partner, the ever affable and effervescent Adam Weidel. Week 7, dude.
Bro, yeah. Are we that deep in the season? It just seems like yesterday we were just excited to get football back. And now we're almost halfway through the season. I guess week 9 would mark the halfway point since it's a 17-game season, right?
It's like Wednesday after week 8, right?
Yeah, like just crazy. Wow. So,
well, let's jump right in.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Thursday night football.
As we say, every Thursday night is kind of like the tone setter of the week, right? And
I didn't have Broncos bitch slapping Saints on my bingo card this week.
I'll tell you what. So anybody that wasn't paying attention, Broncos win this game 33 in New Orleans, who scored 10. The team with the highest elevation in the league played the team that was below sea level, and they got it done.
They should have a graphic just for that, and they don't.
Honestly, Terry, I don't think either quarterback played well. The Broncos got it done on defense.
Yeah, they just I guess they wanted it more. Saints didn't. They seemed discombobulated the whole time. I don't know if because they missed Derek Carr or if their Swiss Army knife is not available, but they just didn't seem like they were ready to play at all. Period.
And I'm seeing rumors now that Camaro is looking for a trade. Like he's looking to get out of New Orleans. They started off so hot,
and now they
put
up
90+ points in their first 2 games, and then they've dropped the last 5, and it doesn't seem like they can put up points at all.
And that brings us to Sunday morning, 8:30 my time, 7:30 your time, 9:30
so I was up
your
for
time.
That one.
I'm sorry, man. The Patriots started off strong. They were up 10-zip, and the Jaguars were like, no, I don't think we want to be bitches anymore.
Yeah, they just came on all of a sudden. They ran it in the second half for 20 times in a row, and the Patriots were the number 1 run defense last year, and the majority of that defensive team is still together, and I think they're ranked like 26th or something against the run this year. It's right. It's just a flip of the script.
And they didn't have a lot of personnel changeovers. Not like they revamped the whole defense.
No, they got a couple guys that are on IR right now. Like 4 of their key dudes are, it's nice to see though that the Patriots are actually putting up offensive numbers with, the number 3 overall pick. But then we go to the press conference afterwards, and the coach says the team is soft, and I think they're going to stop playing for him. I think he's lost his team.
I would not be a bit surprised to see Robert Kraft just pull the trigger on a new coach. I mean, you can't say that about your team.
No, you can't. And
even if it's true, you can't.
Even if it is true, like you say the cliche stuff is like, oh, we got to get it done in all 3 phases. Offense wasn't clicking today. Defense
team effort,
made some mistakes.
Team effort. We need to work on tackling, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do the whole like kind of neutral. Like, yeah, we know we lost, but these are the things that we have to work on. We can't take stupid penalties. Whatever the excuses, and they took a lot of stupid penalties in that second half, and it just let the Jags feast on them.
And I'm going to leave the 2 NFC games for the last one we talk about in the early window, but first one up, we have Titans at Bills. Bills went into Tennessee and just who's your daddy?
100%. And it was a nice initial showing in a Bills uniform for Amari Cooper. He didn't do a lot, but he blocked. He did a lot of blocking.
He did, but he's a big body guy, and he did a lot of blocking in Pittsburgh. It's not like that was one of the things he was kind of known for, was not only being an exceptional wide receiver, he didn't mind blocking in the run game. So that's what he did.
A big body guy. He's going to be a nice addition to the team. I don't think they had a game plan for him because he arrived in Buffalo on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right. Then he's probably still learning the signal calls and all that. And
yeah. So they're just like, just be upfront, Amari, and just push some guys out of the way, because they've established a pretty decent ground game with this team, and have made Josh being able to just concentrate on his job as the quarterback and throw the ball, scramble for extra yards, but don't run it 50 yards to the end zone anymore. Like, he doesn't have to be Superman anymore because they've got a great run game.
Yeah, he can be, like you said, just concentrate on the one thing. That brings us to Dolphins-Colts. That went down to the wire. Colts win that one in the last 2 minutes of the game. Pretty good game all the way around, but pretty sloppy game.
Kind of a snoozer. Not going to lie. It was a hard one for me to watch, especially because, Tua is not in the lineup, and I think Tyreek had 2 catches for 8 yards total.
Tyreek is expected back, or not Tyreek, sorry. Tua is expected to get back to practice this week. Whether he plays or not is another issue, but he was cleared to practice this week, so...
Yeah, he's starting practice tomorrow.
So, and that brings us to the Battle of the Birds, the Seahawks and Falcons. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, I was a little shocked. So, just to kind of recap on the 34-14 whooping that the Seagulls, I call them the Seagulls, put on Atlanta.
Well, I was texting with my buddy Chris, we've talked about before. I told him the Falcons are going to fade. I didn't think it'd be the same day I was texting him that, though.
Yeah, so Geno Smith is actually the number 1 in passing yards right now. He's got 1,985 passing yards. He's the leader in the league for passing yards.
I always liked him, and with the right OC, he performs pretty well, and he's performing at a pretty high level right now in Seattle. So God bless him. And
Seahawks are actually, I believe, leading that division too. So we'll talk after we go through the games. We'll talk the playoff picture as well if it started tomorrow.
And that brings us to the last 2 noon games. One was Texans at Packers. That was decided in the last 15 seconds of the game.
Yeah. So really good game. Not going to lie. Texans are for real. Packers are for real. Both very competitive football teams.
Yeah. Really good football teams. Really good game. That was a good, interesting game to watch. I was in the garage, so I had the Packers on the little screen, and I had on the big screen the next we're going to talk about. Another one that went down to the wire. Lions at Vikings. Oh, boy, was that a great game.
That was another great game. So just for those that are, maybe didn't catch the games on the weekend, Packers end up winning with field goal 24-22 against the Texans. So that one went down to the end.
It was like 15 seconds left when they kicked that field goal.
Yeah, it wasn't much left.
So, and then the Lions, something similar. I think there was 30 seconds left when they kicked their field goal to go ahead, and that Lions Vikings game was a great football game, man. I bet they'd wish they had that on Sunday night, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Lions had the slow start. Little Motor City Dan doing his 4th down stuff, which failed. Vikings, excellent defense. I have to say the Vikings defense is for real.
Yeah, and the one thing I noticed about them is, especially if they have a lead at all, if they have any sort of a lead and they can pin their ears back, oh boy, forget about it.
But the Vikings, capitalized on a couple Lions mistakes. Lions started really slow. Vikings, I believe, were up 10-0 in the early part of the game, and then, oh my God, it was just a shootout.
Yeah,
what an amazing game!
Just really, really fun.
Lots of action. Minimal flags too, which I enjoyed because that game went really fast.
It did. It seemed like it was over before it got really started. Somehow way. So that brings us to the late window of games. We had Bengals at Browns. The Browns may have finally figured out their quarterback situation by losing Deshaun Watson to a knee-ending surgery. Or season-ending surgery.
Yeah, and so the Bengals win this game 21-14, and I'm going to be honest, this was a no contest game. The Bengals had them on the ropes pretty much the entire game. The initial kickoff was returned for touchdown. So Bengals were up 7-0 right off the hop with like 3 seconds off the clock or whatever it was. And then it was a very slow-paced game, divisional game, so we expect it to be competitive. But that 21-14 score really doesn't reflect how the game was.
No. The Bengals just had it the whole time.
It was basically 21-7 the majority of the game. It stalled out, and then Deshaun goes down with a season-ending injury, ACL, MCL. I'm not sure exactly which one it was. Probably both. And the fans in Cleveland,
they were brutal, man. They were brutal.
Oh my God! So they start this chant like they're in they're over in England a Premier Soccer League match, and they're all chanting, "You deserve it, you deserve it."
I know it was.
And I was just like, holy shit! And that went on for like 5 minutes.
And did you see Jameis Winston's press conference? Number one.
No, I did not.
Number one,
didn't catch it.
Jameis didn't get the snap. They went to the guy that's basically a rookie. And Jameis has starting experience both in Tampa and New Orleans. Why not let Jameis start? But they went to a rookie, so that's a big question. But Jameis was like, he doesn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. You guys need to rethink your lives. And it was pretty funny.
Well, Winston has done some pretty controversial things, especially last year when the Saints were like just killing. I can't even remember the other team who they were playing. It was the last game of the season, and they were up like 62-12 or something like that. And he was like, "I'm going for the end zone. Fuck it." Yeah.
Yeah, he's not really the best guy. You don't want him being your voice of support. He's the wrong guy
He's a gunslinger. Like he just like, I'm here to play football and I'm here to put up as many points as I possibly can because God knows I haven't had the chance to do that very often.
And that brings us to the NFC East game. I think this was a 3:30 game simply because it was an NFC East matchup. Eagles at Giants. The Eagles handily defeat the Giants.
So Saquon, funny stat here. So I can't remember how this one ended, but the Eagles win 28-3, and Saquon puts up more touchdowns as an Eagle in MetLife Stadium in one game than he did as a Giant who would have played there 8 times a year.
Yeah, he put up a lot of points. That brings us to Raiders at Rams. That one I didn't really get to see a whole lot of highlights on. I don't think it was a very entertaining game, judging by the coverage it's gotten.
It wasn't a great game, and I mean the Raiders are pretty much in tank mode at this point. The Rams, I mean both these teams were under 500 going in. Like they're nothing exciting to watch. The only people that are going to watch these games are the diehard fans of either team. It's not something that, a fair weather fan or a fair weather football fan is going to go in and say, "Oh, the Raiders and Rams are playing this week. I got to watch that game," because they're not exciting teams to watch.
You're not going to have somebody at Buffalo Wild Wings going, "Hey, throw on that Raiders Rams game." That's not going to happen. Yeah. That brings us to the Panthers at Commanders. The Commanders just. They just, it was like a WWE contest at some point in time. But they lost their quarterback. Marcus Mariota came in and finished the game. He still put up some points.
Jaden Daniels had a rib injury. He took a pretty solid hit, and then it looked like he had a tummy ache the way he was holding his stomach.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's some ribs. He wasn't coming back into the game. Marcus Mariota, the new Fitzmagic, I'm going to call him because he's been on a lot of teams.
He's well traveled, yeah. His steamer truck has a bunch of stickers on it.
He's the new journeyman of the NFL. They handle the Panthers easily. I mean, the Panthers aren't anything to be excited about.
Yeah. If you can't beat the Panthers at this point in time, you really shouldn't be a football team.
40-7 is the final score of that game.
So that brings us to the Chiefs at Niners. Everybody was expecting a big competitive repeat of last year's Super Bowl game.
I certainly was, and it was in the beginning. It was pretty chess match football at the beginning of this game, and then the wheels fell off.
Yeah, the Niners, they're just decimated injury wise, and Purdy turned over the ball 3 times. When he doesn't turn the ball over, he's a much
3
better
turnovers.
When he doesn't turn the ball over, he's a much better quarterback. He's competitive, but if he gets that first turnover, you kind of know he's going to have at least 2, because he's one of those guys that when he gets one, he gets rattled, and it ruins his whole vibe.
He's got no receivers now. Everybody's broken. Ayuk signs that big contract after all the controversy of him, wanting to be traded and everything, and now he's likely done for the season. They still don't have McCaffrey. Debo's out. There's a lot of pieces missing on the 49ers, and the healthiest receiver they have got shot 2 months ago.
And that, by the way, losing people throughout the game, that seems to be a reoccurring theme for Week 7 this week. And that brings
a lot of injuries this week.
That brings us to Jets at Steelers. Russell Wilson goes out there, and I was wondering why they started Russell. Oh, I'm sorry. I know you're a Russell fan there, Daisy.
She's a Russell fan.
But Russell, he put up points. I mean, it was 37-15 Steelers. And anytime I watch Aaron Rodgers lose, I'm entertained. But to see him throwing interceptions and then picking his nose on the sideline, that's the trifecta for the Rodgers hater.
So the fact that so the big story for me in this game is that Devontae Adams plays the Steelers, loses as a Raider, gets traded, shows up in New York on a Tuesday to be the savior for the New York Jets because Aaron Rodgers wanted him. And then he loses to the Steelers the following week. In 7 days, he lost to the Steelers twice and got traded.
God bless him. So that was like I said, Russell Wilson looked better than serviceable. He was throwing some really nice touch passes. Good game. That brings us to
the one thing I do like about because you and I had talked about like why are they replacing Justin Fields? He's doing well. Like stick with your hot hand, right?
Hot hand, and statistically speaking, he's got better numbers than Patrick Mahomes so far this season.
But the one thing I did enjoy about this game is like both these QBs know the playbook, and they seem to be very fluid, like just changing between quarterbacks.
Right, but you know the old saying, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any.
True.
And they do seem to have 2 guys that can do the job, but and Collinsworth being Collinsworth, I don't think he's obviously a Mike fan, and I get that. I like Mike as well. But
and what was with Collinsworth and his whole Beanie Baby rant thing that he had going on?
I don't know, but when you can tell when he likes somebody because he goes out of his ways to be over the top. When we talked to Tomlin this week, he mentioned that he had to find out, and if we bring Fields back, Russell Wilson's never taken another step unless there's injury, and we just have to find out. And he brought that up like 9 times. Chris,
he's just going on about everything, and just like so. I think one of the guys' names on the Steelers is Beanie, and he started calling him Beanie Baby, and then he was talking about going to airports looking for Beanie Babies, and he just stayed on this Beanie Baby train. I was just like, what are we like how much drugs did you give this guy before he went on the air, because he just is on the same train of thought over and over.
I wasn't a big Collinsworth fan to begin with, and then they brought his kid in for the pregame, and it's like it's like Collinsworth squared, and I'm like, dude, I don't like either one of you now. And I have a distinct feeling Chris Collinsworth took a lot less money so they would hire Jack to do the pregame because he didn't have any.
They're the same guy.
Yeah, exactly.
They're the same guy.
And that brings us to the Monday night games. By the way, that early start, I guess we'll call it, because we had the regular start and then we had one like 8 o'clock. The early start was the Ravens at Buccaneers, a really expensive game player-wise for Tampa Bay.
So my takeaways from this game, Ravens win this game 41-31, but it didn't look like that. At the beginning of the game, I was just like, oh shit, the Buccaneers are for real. I thought the Ravens would just like dissect them.
Right. They walked down the field and scored that first touchdown. You're like, wow, this is going to be a game.
Yeah, I was excited. It was 10-0. Ravens hadn't answered, and then all of a sudden, the Ravens put up 27 unanswered points.
Yeah, there was nothing.
And part of that is, Mike Evans is playing with a questionable hamstring. He gets his 100th receiving touchdown.
I know you like Mike
which is
Evans,
great.
Daisy, but calm down, sweetie.
Which is great. Only the 11th player to ever do it. 100th receiving touchdown. Great. And then they try to throw it to him again on the next drive, and it looked bad.
It did. I mean, before he even landed, he was grabbing the back of his leg.
Yeah, it looked bad. And the defensive player on that play also got injured. Like everybody, it was just a mess of bodies on the ground.
The whole game was like a triage unit. And then at the end of the game, Buccaneers scored 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. And they were trying to stage a comeback, and Baker threw one to Godwin over the center, and Roquan Smith did what Roquan Smith has done since. I know, it's okay.
She's excited about the Baker.
Yeah,
that's all.
She wants to know if he's getting his DQ this week. We'll still buy a DQ, Bake, but I'm sorry.
I don't know. I think we got to give up on the DQ and just start buying him those nicotine pods or whatever he's stuffing in his cheek on the sidelines.
But I mean, he kind of. I wonder if that was. I know that was the way the play was designed, but he kind of threw Godwin into a bad situation.
So, my question on this is, why are you playing Godwin so late in the game when you're just being decimated by the Ravens? They should have.
I think they were trying to make a comeback. Because, they were down 10. It was 2 minutes to go, and they're probably thinking, look, we can score 2-point conversion, field goal, we'll win the game.
And then they have the tight end, Cade Ottman. Is that his last name? Ottman?
Yes.
Yeah. They just keep throwing, Baker keeps throwing to him as he's the only receiver left, and almost killed him too.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm sure some of that's just the way the plays are designed, but I know quarterbacks can throw guys away from being hurt. And Godwin, I wonder if that could have gone another angle, but.
I think, so he's done. We don't know if Mike Evans is done for the season. We have no idea what's going to happen there. But I think this turns the tables on Tampa Bay's chances.
I do too. Because you had two Pro Bowl caliber wide receivers.
Superstars. Yeah, they're superstars and for sure.
You've lost one for the season, and the other one is probably out for 2 or 3 weeks with a hammy. So.
That hammy injury, I wouldn't be surprised if that hammy keeps him out for a matter of months, because he was playing on an injured hamstring, and then and you could see him favoring it on the sidelines, but he would just run it out through plays, and then they'd bring him off. They'd be like, okay, run one play, and then we'll bring you off to give you some rest so that you can rest up that hamstring. But then when he went down, it didn't look good. It looked like something that he could not play on for a few months. It's pretty bad looking.
It looked really bad, and I don't know if you noticed when they put him in, it was almost always in either a third down situation or a scoring position. They didn't put him in.
It was definitely red zone situations. They would not put him in the middle of the field.
Yeah, and that brings us to the last game of the night, last game of the week, Chargers at Cardinals. That was one I couldn't watch because ESPN Plus sucks.
Once again, you didn't miss much. If that was the only game on, I probably would have went to bed.
Yeah, it sounded. I was trying to watch the highlights as they came available on the NFL app, and it didn't look like much was going on. But we did get to see our guy running around like a chicken with his head cut off.
Oh yeah. So I'll give you the too long didn't watch on this one. Chargers put up 5 field goals. They did not get a touchdown. Cardinals put up 2 touchdowns and a game-winning field goal. They ran clock, 2 seconds left. They kicked the game winner. They didn't give them any time. Walk-off field goal to win that game. Both these teams are, I don't know. It's hard. We'll see what the next few weeks bring, but we got one that's 3-3. They've already had a bye. The other's 3-4. I don't know, man. It wasn't an exciting game for me. Justin Herbert definitely needs some help in the receiver area.
Yes, he does. And I wouldn't. They're probably regretting that Keenan Allen trade right about now.
they have nobody left from that last couple of years with their main receiving core. They're just kind of like flying by the seat of their pants, hoping that draft picks work out.
No, I think, and I know what it is. Part of it is just that Jim Harbaugh wants to be a run-first team. That's what he's always done. He wants to be run-first, but you have to have somebody to throw the ball to once in a while, and they don't anymore.
Your Bears did not get to play, and probably the highlight of my week is Cowboys fans were pretty quiet.
However,
because they were on bye, but they lost in the bye.
However, kudos to the meme makers. Cowboys on a bye week 27, Cowboys 3. That was the best meme I saw.
I laughed. I think everybody has sent that to me. It's kind of funny because it's just like you're either in love with the Cowboys or you hate them. So after week 7, the playoff picture, if it started tomorrow, this is what it looks like. In your AFC, you have the Kansas City Chiefs as the 1 seed. So they would get a bye in week in the first week, and then you'd have your wild card round, which would see the number 2 Houston Texans seeing the number 7 Denver Broncos. You'd also see the number 6 Indianapolis Colts visiting the number 3 Baltimore Ravens, and then you would have the number 5 Pittsburgh Steelers visiting the number 4 Buffalo Bills. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and I don't like to play that game until we get to like week 10 or week 12.
I like watching it kind of evolve and change. And on the NFC side, however,
the entire NFC North is in the playoffs.
Which is crazy to me. The number 1 seed is the Detroit Lions because they have the same record as the Vikings now, and they have the tiebreaker with the win after beating the Vikings Sunday. Mm-hmm. The 7th seed is your Chicago Bears, which would visit the Washington, whatever we want to call them. I guess they're the Commanders now, but they've had so many names in the last 4 years.
I would not be surprised to see them go back to the Redskins either. Because they haven't gone.
I'd be okay with it. They haven't
gone after the Chiefs yet, have they?
No. The number 6 seed, the Green Bay Packers, another NFC North team, would visit the number 3 Seattle Seahawks, which is crazy. And then the Vikings, which are now the 5 seed, would visit the number 4 seed, which is the Atlanta Falcons. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah,
well, like I said, I think the Falcons are going to fade, and they started their fade this past week. So we'll have to see what's going on next week. He's mincing outside the doorway, Adam.
Is he here already?
Yeah. It's time for Coach Blackwell, boys and girls. Your favorite segment, voted by nobody.
Hi, boys and girls. It's Coach Blackwell. How are you doing this week, Terrence? You're looking fabulous.
It's not how you feel. It's how you look.
This week in fashion, we had some bold choices. The Ravens, they come out in black, white, and black. They had the black helmets, the black pants, and the white tops. The only purple they had was the logo and their numbers, and it looked fabulous.
It does look good. That is a good look for them, man. And they usually play pretty well with that look as well.
Now, another juggernaut in the league, the Detroit Lions, they come out with their silver helmets, but they wore the white tops and the white pants, and I thought that looked fantastic.
That's a sleek look, man, especially when you're playing on the artificial surface because you don't have the green all over.
One of the hot looks of the week was the Houston Texans. They came out in steel blue from head to toe.
And I give them a 2-snap thumbs up.
Yes. Patriots came out in the white and silver helmets, silver pants, but on screen it looked like they were wearing all white because it was such a light silver. It just blended so well.
Nice.
Titans came out, normal helmets, white unis. It looked okay.
Titans.
The big shocker of the week for me, Terry, was Green Bay comes out with white helmets on?
I think that's the first time I've ever seen a white helmet in Green Bay, and I got to be honest with you, I liked the look.
White helmets, white jerseys, white pants with yellow and green accents. It looked fabulous.
It really did. That was a really sharp look, man.
And then my favorite uniform of the week, Arizona Cardinals. Oh my.
Did they go all red?
Just made our hearts stop. They came out black on black on black with a little red accent with some silver trim. It looks so good.
That's an interesting look with the black helmets. I haven't seen the black helmets very often.
Oh, the black helmets were just scrumptious.
Just fabulous.
I loved it. I can hardly wait to look at the uniforms this week. I am so excited. I can hardly wait to see you next week and what you wear. You look so good today.
You know, I put a shirt on for you. Congratulations. Well, have a good week, Coach Blackwell. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. So, bye-bye.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks, Adam. We love you.
And he goes mincing out the door. That brings us to our Week 8 games. Week 8 already, Adam. Thursday night.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Thursday night, it opens up. Vikings at Rams. I don't see the Rams having much of a chance there.
Vikings at Rams, huh? Okay, so the Vikings, I kind of think that the Lions may have taken some wind out of their sails, so to speak, because they are Vikings. But the Rams are on liquidation sale right now. It looks like they want to trade Cooper Kupp to some team.
And I think the Vikings are going to want to, that defense is going to want to prove that was a fluke last week. I think they're going to come out blazing.
They honestly, that game with the Lions could have went either way. Either team could have won or lost that. It was just a matter of clock management and who had the ball last. The Vikings could still be undefeated. But that's not the way the game turned out. I've got Vikings on this one.
Just ran out of clock. The Vikings ran out of clock against the Lions. That's not going to happen against the Rams. That brings us to our Sunday noon slate of games. Packers at Jaguars. I think that's a no-brainer. Cardinals at Dolphins.
I'm
not getting much of a chubby out of that game either.
Cardinals might be trying to capitalize. I mean, if they wear the black unis again.
And then
that's their lucky charm.
Then we have the AFC East matchup, the Jets at the Patriots. Aaron Rodgers might get healthy.
I'm not even looking forward to that game.
Aaron Rodgers might get healthy, but who knows the way he's playing. I don't want to say he's done, but he looks like he's done. We have one that should just be an absolute cakewalk. Ravens at Browns.
So as we said, the Browns are they've lost a ton of talent, either through trade or injury. I think Browns are in tank mode at this point, and the Ravens are making a statement. They've won 5 in a row.
They're on a roll of gay, yeah. We have the Eagles at Bengals. That one, the Bengals.
Kind of interested.
Are you?
Kind of interested.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think this is where Joe Cool gets 500.
Well, and the Bengals have a history under Joe Cool of slow starting, and they really need to stop that. But this is the time of year when they start putting together wins, and against the Eagles, it's absolutely doable. And we have Colts going to Houston against the Texans. I don't think the Colts have a chance. I really don't. The Texans are playing really good ball right now.
So this is a super interesting matchup since both these teams are actually winning games. Now the Colts not so much. I mean the Texans are only winning by a field goal as well. They're not making decisive wins. I think this one could go either way because this is a divisional matchup. They are walking into Houston though. I think Houston takes it, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Colts sneak one out.
We have Titans going to Lions. I think that's a no-brainer as well.
Oh, if the Titans upset the Lions here, I think I have to stop watching football because the Titans haven't shown any offense.
They are going to make a change at quarterback, but I think that's more an act of desperation than anything else at this point in time. Then we have the Falcons going to the Buccaneers. That's a divisional game. Those two teams have
super stoked for this one.
Yeah, they're on decidedly different arcs right now, and I wonder if the Buccaneers they injured themselves out of contention is what I'm wondering.
So the neat thing here is the Falcons are kind of on a downward spiral. They've kind of tapered off. The Bucs coming off a pretty hard loss. They held their own against a team that I thought was going to destroy them.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't even want to watch that matchup, I didn't want to watch Ravens at Bucks. I like both these teams. It was a hard one to pick for me. But the Falcons did beat the Bucks earlier this year, so this is their second matchup, and the Falcons have basically the tiebreaker over the Bucks if they tied in that division. So the Bucks have to win this game.
That brings us to Saints at Chargers. The way the Saints are performing right now, I think they would be hard-pressed to beat anybody but the Panthers, so I'd take the Chargers in that one.
I think the Chargers are not looking that great either with their 5 field goals and no touchdowns, so that one could be a coin flip.
We have the Bills going into Seattle.
Ooh.
That's a long flight, man. And Seattle's really playing well right now, and I usually like the Bills, but I think in this one I would go Seattle.
I wouldn't mind seeing both these teams be 5-3, to be honest. The separation is starting to take hold in week 7, going into week 8. I'd like to see things get like a little more squared up so that the playoff picture gets a lot tighter.
And that brings us to Chiefs at Raiders. I think we all know which way that one's going to go. The Raiders might have a chance to beat the Chiefs, but they don't have a chance to beat the officials.
I think the Raiders could play spoiler here like they did last year. Chiefs, I mean, it's the Chiefs. They're undefeated. But Raiders upset them last year, and they had no skin in the game. They had no chance of a playoff spot, nothing. And they were just like, we hate the. It's like when the 49ers play the Cowboys. It's like, fuck the Cowboys. I think the Raiders are fuck the Chiefs.
Yeah. Then we have Panthers at Broncos. Like
Broncos
I said,
for sure.
If you can't beat the Panthers, you shouldn't be playing football. Our last 3 o'clock game, actually, it's a 3:25 start. The Bears going into Washington, but it's Washington Marcus Mariota, not their number 2 draft pick. And because it's Marcus Mariota, I'm thinking it's the Bears. So that brings us to our Sunday night game, unless you have other thoughts on that.
Well, no, I think Caleb Williams definitely has come on strong as they're coming off a bye as well. As long as they didn't lose some of their mojo in the bye week. Bye weeks can be tricky. You can either get healthy or you can come off stale. So
yeah, right.
I'm hoping the Bears come off strong. The Commanders actually do need to have some solid competition because I think a lot of the teams that they've played so far are pretty weak.
See, that's what they're saying about.
That's
what they're saying about the Bears too, and I keep going back to they're weak teams, but you got to beat them. It doesn't matter if they're weak or not. If they're on your schedule, you got to beat them. So
yeah, you got to win.
So they're both these teams are doing what they're supposed to do, which is win those games.
I think this is the first matchup that either of these teams are going up against that is a true playoff competitor.
That's a fair observation. So that brings us to our Sunday night game, and again, why this one is I know why because of the cachet that this matchup has. It was only the NFC Championship game for like 6 years in a row. It's the Dallas Cowboys going into San Francisco.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys take this. As much as I want to have faith in the 49ers, they're not having a great season. They're injury-riddled. And the Cowboys need to get their shit together, especially coming off a bye week.
Yeah, and I think Mike McCarthy probably is feeling a little pressure, so he might coach extra hard and might pull something out. And I'm with you. I think the Cowboys have a better chance than the Niners. And that brings us to the Monday night game. Why this is a Monday night game, I have no fucking idea. The New York Football Giants are going to go into Pittsburgh. I don't think they have a chance against whoever's quarterbacking in Pittsburgh because that Steelers defense is legitimate.
I ultimately think that the ball boy could be quarterback for the Steelers and beat these guys because the Giants have not shown us that they can be a competitive football team this year. They have great defense and great special teams, but then last week or Sunday they go up against somebody in their own division and they lose by 26 points. So how great is their defense?
Yeah, they're just not looking very good all the way around. I think they could probably beat Carolina and maybe Jacksonville, but they'd be hard pressed to beat maybe the Raiders too.
All right, so we're both taking Cowboys on Sunday night and we're both taking Steelers on Monday night. Thank God that the doubleheader Mondays are over because that's not something I enjoy watching.
No, I don't either. And where are we standings? Who's got the better?
So right now, you are 15-10, and I'm 11-14. So you've got 4 games up on me right now.
Well, thank you very much. I'll go ahead and take that payment in cash.
And it's not going to change next week because we both took the same teams.
Yep. Like I said, I'll just make that payment out to cash. My friends call me cash.
Okay. All right. The following week, though, things could get interesting because I could see for the primetime games, I could see us going opposites. Depends on what happens this week.
We'll have to find out for sure. That'll do it for this week, boys and girls. A little bit longer episode than usual. We're at 40
maybe not. I think we're good.
We're at 41 minutes, so about average.
Coach Blackwell takes up so much time.
Yeah, but you know, we're contractually obligated. So, Adam, where can the boys and girls find us?
All right, so if you're on Facebook, you can just find us at Straight Off the Couch. Just type that into the search bar. You'll find us. You'll see the logos. You'll see all that stuff. We put up some memes and some reels. We just share them from other sites and stuff. We don't make our own shit.
Well,
we like to have some fun and we like to have a conversation. So check us out there.
Yeah, we don't make our own memes, but yeah, the conversation we bring up I think is pretty good. So.
Yeah, we like to have conversations, and if you want to find us anywhere else socially, you can go to Linktree, check out Straight Off the Couch. You can find me on X, send me a DM, or just hit my wall up on the tweet deck or whatever we're calling it this week. I am Adam Off the Couch, at Adam Off the Couch. Terry, how about you?
You can find me on the Twitters at TREMUP. That's at TREMUP. On the gram at TerramUpTerry. For my broadcast partner, the ever affable and effervescent, I am TerramUpTerry. We're getting to the meat of it. Everybody be safe. God bless. Bye-bye, everybody.
See you after week 8.